Liverpool won, Chelsea won, and I don't know about you, Jack, but it kind of feels like 2 points have been left on the table there today. And look, you've got to give credit to Chelsea. They did defend well, but all in all, against 10 men in the second half, you feel like we should have been looking to push that game and get to 3 points.
Yeah, I said to you before we went live, feels like a missed opportunity today. I thought the first half was an excellent first 45 minutes of football. Both sides really at it. I think the goal took a bit of energy out of us. But the penalty, which we'll talk about in more detail, came at a great time. And it's really hard for an opposition side to play with 10 men at Anfield for a full 45 minutes. But credit to Chelsea, I thought they defended superb, and we just didn't have an answer today.
I think that's a fair summary of the game. So look, let's break it down. We'll start off with team selection. I know the news broke this morning. We had an inkling that maybe it was going to start. I think he justified his start, Jack. I think that he played well today. I don't have any complaints about Elliott. In fact, the only decision which I would have made, so I'm not in hindsight, trying to be a genius, but Robbo did look a little bit rusty there today, I have to admit.
Yeah, Harvey Elliott's fantastic, mate. That kid is incredible, and he's only going to get better and better. He's played against Burnley, he's played against Chelsea today. He didn't look out of place at all. He looks like he's been playing in the Premier League for years. This kid is 18 years old. He's come into a really high-profile game today, a title battle, and he's not looked out of place at all. He's bossed the midfield, which, of course, Chelsea have a midfield with Kante in as well, who is one of the best midfielders in world football. And, yeah, Harvey Elliott, I thought, was outstanding once again today. And we keep getting told the lack of signings is because this kid's going to get more game time, and I'm absolutely behind that because he deserves it. We've spoke before. I would like to see some signings, particularly in that forward position. I think today showed that. I think there was one point today where we're struggling to break Chelsea down. Obviously, we were forced into the early change with Firmino's injury, and you look into the bench, you're going, who's going to come on and change this game in an attacking point of view for Liverpool Football Club? And that's where we look like we're narrow on options.
Look at this gobshite. Look at this, mate. You're not a football fan. Just do one, honestly. There's a lot of overreacting, as always, Jack, which is always the case after a game of football. Look, let's talk about this from two people that actually have a Scooby-Doo what's going on here, because Chelsea deserve huge credit for the way they went about that second half. If there is one team, and I said it at halftime, that can get compact, get bodies behind the ball and defend, it is that Chelsea team. It was always going to be a difficult job to break them down. We went 1-0 down early doors. We didn't let our heads drop. It's frustrating, but it is what it is, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's frustrating we didn't get the 3 points, but we didn't get sucker punched either. We finished the game. I thought even before they scored, I still think we looked a better team. We looked to be on the front foot more. We were creating. And you seen how much it meant to Chelsea when they celebrated that point at the end of the game. They understood that their backs were against the wall. And yeah, in an ideal world, we'd have found the winner. But they kept plugging away, and sometimes the ball just doesn't break for you.
Yeah, other than the fact that we're fucking massed, Craig, Chelsea celebrating in the end shows that they did a job. Like I said, coming to Anfield where, the fans are back in the stadium, that you'll never walk alone before kick-off, by the way. Goosebumps, mate, absolute goosebumps. But they've come to Anfield, they've played with 10 men for 45 minutes. They've defended absolutely superbly, and credit to them. But, yeah, it's so reactionary, fans getting on our backs. We've played against a very good side in Chelsea, a side who, under Thomas Tuchel, are known to be difficult to break down. We were very unlucky. We had some really good attempts in the second half. I thought Edouard Mendy was superb. Chelsea were very resilient at the back. And yes, at times we did lack different options, but it's the third game into the season. I saw some brilliant things today, Greg. So much to be positive about. Some of the football we played in the second half, that intricate passing was outstanding. I said it was going to be a key battle between Salah and Alonso on that right-hand side. And I think, we bullied Chelsea on that right-hand side. And I'd have liked to see us, attack down there a lot more, because that's where we were having joy today, down that right-hand side for us on Chelsea's left. And yeah, it's tough for us to come away from this with just a point, because I think we deserved more. But
I think what Cameron said here sums it up. Great performance overall, won't lie, but the fact that we only got a draw leaves a bad taste. And look, it does. I get you. I feel you. I'm as frustrated as anybody that we didn't come away with a 3 point today. I just refuse to be over over the top with my reaction because I seen a performance there today. As Liz has said as well, some good moments of that match. I would have loved the win. Again, I agree with what Liz has said. But what I took from that game, Jack, is that they're the European champions. You don't win European Cups without being able to dig deep and defend at times. Chelsea did that manfully today. It was billed as the battle of Lukaku against Van Dijk. Well, he didn't get a sniff, mate, did he? Against either of our centre-backs.
No, he tried against Matip, and there was a period where he was winning their battles in the first half. But I thought the second half, Matip recovered really well and was superb defensively. And any time he tried to pick on Verge just had him in his pocket, and he really struggled against Virgil van Dijk. I thought it was another outstanding performance from the best defender in the world today. I really do. Lukaku is an incredibly difficult opponent to play against, and I thought he handled it superbly. And for me, like I said, there's so many things to take out of this game from a positive point of view, but it is a sour taste in the mouth that we haven't come away from this game with 3 points, and we're not going into the international break with a 100% record still intact. But yeah, by the way, we've got to talk about Anthony Taylor because I thought he was absolutely dreadful today. I really do.
And by the way, I want to just give context to this, by the way, because Jack is or has been a licensed referee. Jack has been in and around the refereeing world, so he has far more of a critical input on this than I would be able to give. Before I do that, though, Jack, before I hand it over to you, I just want to again remind everyone that today's watch-along, our post-match content, is all being brought to you with thanks to the OneFootball app. It is the greatest football app in the world, bar none. It is completely free. You can download it from the link in the description, and it gives you all the stats on today's games, all the weekend fixtures, league tables, video content, everything that you need. Right, Jack, Anthony Taylor, talk to us lay people through the decision-making behind the penalty and the red card first and foremost.
For me, and I'm going to be very, very honest with this, I saw it straight away, and I saw at normal time the movement of Reece James' arm towards the ball when they slowed it. So I thought straight away that was a stonewall penalty. Obviously, when you slow it down, you see it coming off the thigh, and for that reason, Reece James is incredibly unlucky. But because of the movement of his arm, which some people will say it's a natural reaction, and fair play, it could well be. The movement of the arm towards the ball makes it, in my opinion, a stonewall penalty then. And once it's a penalty, it has to be a red card, because I saw on Twitter loads of people mentioning double jeopardy and things like that. But double jeopardy only applies when somebody makes a genuine attempt to play the ball. Uppercutting the ball off the goal line is not doing that. So it had to be a red card when the ref gave a penalty. And yeah, for me, it was the right decision. But, at the same time, I sympathise with Reece James, because in that situation, you're not thinking about stopping the ball from going in. It just happens. It's just a reaction.
We'd all have done it. We'd all have done the same thing. Absolutely. It's a natural reaction.
But what was disgraceful was Chelsea surrounding the referee, all the gamesmanship. That's just, it's Chelsea trying to, delay the penalty and try and put Mohamed Salah off. But, world-class players don't get affected by things like that. And I thought it was, an incredibly good finish from Mo Salah from the spot in a really high, a really big point in the match. And, it was a very good finish.
It was a very good finish. And on the penalty incident, look, I didn't know. I was wondering about the double jeopardy thing myself. So it genuinely is good to have that cleared up from somebody who understands the decision-making process. But let me ask you this, Jack. If you're a Chelsea fan, can you understand why they'd be annoyed seeing Anthony Taylor going across to look at the screen and only seeing a still image and turning around and walking back? That for me, I've got to say, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm questioning why he even walked over, because it was clear the decision was made.
This is where I don't like how football are going about this VAR business, because communication in situations like that really, really helps. For me, the thing I put that down to is that over the voice thing, Anthony Taylor is always talking to the people at Stockley Park in VAR. He would have said to them what he's seen. He will say that he's seen, the ball hit Reece James's arm, but he thinks his arm's down by his side in a natural position, whatever. So there's still image, and we saw him move slightly. All that Anthony Taylor would have gone to that to see was the Reece James moving his arm towards the ball. So that's why I think, he doesn't stay for longer. He knows that Reece James has handled the ball. He probably knows that it's come off the thigh first. He just hasn't had the proof of the arm moving towards the ball. So as soon as he sees that, he turns away. he knows it's a penalty, and that's why the communication at the same time, which we don't get to hear, and would be so helpful to football fans to hear that, but because we don't get to hear that, we fall behind, and it loses the whole integrity because people don't know what's going on. And the quicker that becomes a rule change and we get to hear what these referees are saying, the better for the good of the game. I honestly believe that. And, I honestly think, and I say that, I am a biased Liverpool fan, of course I am, but I honestly say this with no doubt in my mind. I genuinely think that was a stonewall penalty today. I really do. Unfortunate for the player, but a stonewall penalty.
For me, I'm like you. I'd seen it hit his leg, and I thought it's come off his leg. But I could be wrong on this, and I'm open to be corrected. I almost think I've seen a double movement of his arm. I think it hit his leg, hit his arm, and then there was another movement of his arm, and that was the clincher for me.
I think the key thing for me as well is obviously after this is all going on, there was still a bit of a scramble. And the key thing that I saw, and the replays haven't shown it, but Reece James straight away looks up and there's panic on his face and he's looking straight at the referee. And that is a player who knows that the ball's hit his arm and could be in trouble here. I think at the time when the ref goes over and he comes back and he sends him off, in the emotion of the game, Reece James is probably shocked. But I think in the change room now, you saw the reaction of Thomas Tuchel. I know we've not seen the press, obviously the post-match comments yet, but I think he knows that there was no other decision than to send Reece James there, and I do think I do think it's harsh on Reece James because I don't think there was any malice in it. I don't think he was thinking about stopping the ball from entering the back of the net, but I think there's a movement of the arm towards the ball, and the laws of the game say that has to be a penalty and a red card.
I see a lot of Chelsea fans in the chat, and rightly, they're upset and they're annoyed. I get it. I understand it. I'm trying to be fair on what I've seen. Mark Wallace said Tuchel schooled Klopp on how to defend. We both conceded one goal, mate. I don't know how anybody was schooled on how to defend there, to be honest with you. And look, we give Chelsea full credit for the way that they sat back in that second half, were compact and said, come break us down. We weren't able to do it. I'll give them full credit for that second half performance.
I'm seeing comments in the chat about Chelsea parking buses, but you get the challenge for the title playing like that.
Look at this, lad. Where's the? If giving the other team credit is me crying, mate, I don't know what the fuck to say to you other than hello.
I don't understand. Chelsea showed today that they are genuine title contenders. They've come to Anfield. They've defended resiliently. They've got a game plan with 10 men that second half spot on. And yes, we can be frustrated because we're Liverpool Football Club, and in situations like that, we want 3 points, and that's why this feels like a bit of a loss for us. But at the end of the day, Chelsea are going to be title challengers this season because they can scrape points out of games in these kind of situations, and that's what makes Chelsea so good at the minute. That's why they went on to win the European Cup last year. That they're a very, very good side, and it's very, very hard to break them down. It's very, very hard to beat them. We saw today, even with 10 men, they're going to be a difficult side to beat this season, Chelsea. They really, really are, and they're certainly title contenders as well as us.
As this guy says, they're not European champions for no reason. Look, I would no doubt we were in for a battle today. Now, I think we've been fair in our analysis of and giving Chelsea credit. Now, let's look to our own boys and who do we feel played well and who do we feel let us down perhaps today. And I want to signal out two people that I think for clear reasons weren't at their best. Jordan Henderson. I didn't really like him on the left side, though. I didn't think he was able to link up as well as perhaps a Cater or somebody. And again, he's working his way back to fitness as well. But you could see, I didn't want to be overly critical on Robbo, but you could see that there were a few mistakes creeping in as the game went on. And Tsimikas seemed to offer us a bit more when he came on. That's what I take from it. Everybody else I thought was fairly solid today. Alisson, he should have done better. His positioning should have been better. You shouldn't be beaten from that close. And our defender wasn't good enough from the set piece either. Other than that, I don't have much to be critical of today.
I think Mane at times went to ground a bit too easy. I think he wasn't helped. I think he wasn't helped by Anthony Taylor, though. I think, some of the decisions were poor, but we've been told that is how the referees are going to ref this season, that's what they're going to do. They're going to try and play advantage. They're not going to accept, players going down to ground easy. So Mane needs to learn that quickly because there were times today where he could have stayed on his feet, but he's trying to get the free kick and not been given it. And rather than realising, I'm never getting free kicks here, he kept doing the same thing. And by the end of the game, when we really needed to find an opening, it became frustrating. I agree with what you said about Robbo, but that comes with a lack of match fitness. And the same with Henderson. We have to remember he was playing on the left of the three today, which, we haven't seen much before. And there was still some good moments from all three of them. Robbo hitting that volley. I've never seen anything like that in his locker. And on a different day that flies into the top corner in front of the cop. But yeah, he did tire very early today, but that's expected.
How's your overall feeling after it, Jack? Because it's difficult, isn't it, to try and compartmentalise all of our thoughts after something like this? Because we were 1-0 down, kind of against the run of play a bit, but a goal is a goal. It happens. It was a fair goal, no argument. And we found a way back into the game. We started creating a bit more, looked on the front foot. We got our penalty. Salah dispatched it. And in the second half, I don't know what else to say other than it is what it is. They defended well. Mendy made some good saves, commanded his area well. Everything that we knew they were capable of. It's why they are European champions. They're a good footballing team. And yes, it's frustrating that we couldn't break them down. But this wasn't Burnley we were playing against today. This was Chelsea sacrificing basically a striker and sitting back. And look, the truth is we just weren't able to break them down.
Yeah, the word I'll take away from this match is I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that we didn't get the 3 points because, I think Liverpool should aspire for better than a point at Anfield against 10 men of Chelsea. However, I'm remaining positive because I saw so many positives from today's game. We've got Virgil van Dijk back, fully fit. He's played 3 games in a row now in the Premier League before the international break. He looked outstanding once again against Lukaku, who is one of the hardest centre forwards to play against. Just everything about our performance. There were so many positives, so many intricate passing plays. And yes, we've not been able to break
I want to just say hello to Mark Wallace again, who's having a nice little cry today in the comment section. But if there's a team that blew 3 points today, it wasn't us, because there was only ever one team in this game today that was in a position to take 3 points, mate. And then you went full on Harlem Globetrotters, mate. So fuck off with your saltiness. Go on, Jack.
We have to remember as well. We went 1-0 down, yes, from an absolutely world class Chelsea goal. That header from Havertz is outstanding. And, we had a period after that where the game went flat. But then just before we got the penalty, we got back in it again. Anfield became alive again. And, the penalty came at a good time. But I think we would have gone on and equalised anyway. And like I said, that there's so many positives to take away from this, Craig. We've got a real player in Harvey Elliott, which just brings us another option in midfield or attack. Mo Salah scoring a incredibly
I've seen the double arm movement there. I'm seeing the replay now of Reece James, and I still think there was a double arm movement, 1-2. Maybe it was got caught in his arm as he rolled it up, but either way, there's no doubting that he scooped that arm away. And it was a penalty, and whether you think it was a red card or not, I suppose I understand. The point is redundant at this moment in time. Would I be angry if it was the other way around? Yeah. I don't admit it was a penalty, by the way, but yeah, I'd have been angry at the red card. But, I don't want to be down B. I just don't want to be, Jack. I mean, we've played 3 games. We've got 7 points. We're in a decent position. We've got one of our difficult fixtures done. And yeah, it's frustrating that we couldn't finish off a team that went down to 10 men. And yes, there will be questions about our attacking and are we over-reliant on Salah and where was the chance creation and obvious balls. There would be all the usual questions. But I don't know. I just refuse to be negative, mate. I was proud of that group of lads today.
Absolutely. I'm so positive. I'm disappointed because I think we deserve more. But you can't argue with that. We've played against a very, very, very good Chelsea side who are very, very difficult to break down.
Somebody's trying to say Chelsea were the better team. At no point in that game, if we're being really honest, and I think we're trying to be here, at no point were Chelsea the better team. None. That's my honest opinion. We looked to boss it from the start. They defended magnificently and go out there with a deserved point. No saltiness for me on that. But to say they were the better team is just being disingenuous.
No, they were the better team for about 5-10 minutes in the game in that period just after their goal, and that was it, in my opinion. The first half they set up, they couldn't really deal with the high pressure from Liverpool. There was a couple of times where, they nearly gave us the ball away and we were in. But they were counter-attacking.
Someone saying, well, they had 10 men. You 10 men. They had 10 men because of your own fucking fault. This is what annoys me. Like, people like to try and rewrite history. Well, we had 10 men. Well, yeah, because one of your lads turned Harlem Globetrotters on his own goal line. What's this? Someone saying James played the ball as it came off his knee. Nah, sorry, man. He didn't. He scooped it away from goal. Let's be fair.
He's uppercutted the cunt out the air. It's as simple as that.
Let's be fair,
The balls that he's coming.
I understand the need to vent. I get it. I absolutely understand it. But come on, mate. Like, come on. We're trying to be fair here. We're giving Chelsea the respect they deserve because they're a damn good side. Yeah. Right. Here's one. Craig, my understanding is that this is a result of FSG not investing in the squad. You can't keep Klopp for further years if he's not back. Look, the transfer window is a whole another thing. And look, could we have more forwards? Yes. Would it have changed it? I don't know. None of us can say for if Jeremy Doku was at the club, he probably wouldn't have been near the pitch today anyway. You know, at the end of the day, we couldn't break down a very dogged, well-defended or well-defensively drilled Chelsea team in that second half for a whole host of reasons. Our own inability to break them down, some good defending, some good saves from Mendy. Like, it's frustrating, but that's the truth of it, Jack. There's no point in me and you sitting here and starting to slate our own players and saying otherwise. I'm proud of those boys today.
100%. Absolutely. And, you know, the comments show how reactionary some football fans are. You know, it was a positive performance, so many positives to take away. And the only disappointment we have is because we want better. And, you know, we think that we deserve the win today. But that's where you have to credit Chelsea for their performance and how well they defended. You know, yes, they had 10 men. Yes, we're Liverpool and we should be getting better. But we've gone against a rival for the title and we've played really, really well and we've dominated. And yes, you know, part of that was because they played 45 minutes with 10 men. But the first half, we dominated most of that too. Chelsea scored a world-class goal. And you know, they had the 5-10 minutes after that. But other than that, the first half was ours. And, you know, I think, yeah, I'm disappointed to see a lot of people clearly getting angry and stuff like that. We fully deserve the win, in my opinion. We played for that. We were just unfortunate today. We came up against a very, very resilient Chelsea side, and yeah, we'll you know that shows why they are where they are at the moment, because they can grind results out like that, and that's why they're a world class side at the minute, and that's what we can do too. And we've been able to do that for the last couple of years under Jurgen Klopp, and that's why we've been at the top of the game as well.
To answer your question, Herman, thank you for the super chat. No, I don't think this will force them into signings, although I do agree that we need them. What I would say is context on all of this is important as well. Let's say we went in, by the way, a half-time 1-0 down, and that incident with the handball and the red card and the penalty came 5 minutes into the second half. I think psychologically we view this result completely differently. I mean, it is always difficult when you're against 10 men and you can't find a breakthrough. It's frustrating, but at the end of the day, we move on. They've dropped points. We've dropped points. We're still ahead of Manchester City. We've got a really difficult game out of the way, Jack, and we go into the international break. You know, we keep an eye on Bobby and hope that there's nothing too serious with his left leg. And I don't know what else to say, mate. I mean, we've Steve Bland, who's going to come on in a few minutes as well when I finish here with Jack. And Steve Bland, who's the voice of reason on our channel, usually the calm, rational one, will give us his breakdown of the game as well. But final words to you, Jack, before I let you go. Final thoughts on the game?
Just you know, there's no need to be negative about anything for me from that. Just disappointment, mate. You know, it feels like a defeat because we played so well and deserved more. It's as simple as that for me. But yeah, just credit to Chelsea because it was a very good performance from them. And for me, they showed that they're going to be title contenders this year because they can, no matter what, they can grind results out like that. And yeah, fair play to them.
Yeah, and again, a lot of these games will be, I won't say title deciders, but, you know, our good record against top six carries on. And yeah, look, folks, I know it's frustrating. I know at halftime we were all buoyant. We all wanted and hoped that we'd go down and try and get the win. We weren't able to. Chelsea deserve credit for that. Martin Gillespie said 10 men are always hard to beat, heads up. Again, you know, wouldn't this, imagine we'd have got sucker punched, by the way, and Chelsea, Lukaku's shot wasn't blocked by Matip, and that goes in. That's a whole another ball game, isn't it? Then we're in a completely different position. Look, there's a load of hypotheticals in this, ladies and gentlemen. What we know for a fact is a finished Liverpool won, Chelsea won. We all move on to the next game. We're on to the international break now. I'll be back in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, with Steve Bland. Really appreciate Jack coming on again straight after the game. I know you're away for the night, mate, so have a good one. And, you know, have one for me or give her one for me, whichever you like, mate. I mean, you know my wife. My wife's upstairs watching this going, oh, there's that good Jack guy again.
Yeah, cheers, Craig. Yeah, I've got by the way, if you don't mind me saying, there's a charity game at Litherland Sports Park that I'm playing in tomorrow in Liverpool. So any Scousers or locals or anything that can get down for a good cause, it's for the Owen McVeigh Foundation. And yeah, if you could come down and you know, laugh at me if you want, just come and give us a watch and donate some cash. That would be great.
Absolutely fantastic foundation, the McVeigh Foundation as well. Well done, Jack. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back momentarily with Mr. Steve Bland. Thank you to you guys. We'll have another reaction coming up momentarily. Take care. Bye-bye.